Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Akims out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Brakatam. So, hey, some interesting things just took place, right? You had IT worldwide power outage, right? Or worldwide global internet outage, right? And this was all done on purpose, and yet this Trump narrative, well, to the elect, of course, that's all, falling apart. But to the rest of the world, of course, hook, line, and sinker, right? Hegelian dialect, because this guy miraculously survives an assassination attempt, right? And yeah, you got some out there that are going to try to claim that, okay, this is the beast and his miracles, right? That's one person, that the Antichrist, that are going to say, oh, the beast whose deadly wound was healed. Yeah, see, look, his deadly wound by the ear, right? But no, the beast whose deadly wound it was healed just deals with Esau, Edom as a nation. Not to be caught up in that, but that's some of what, some false prophets are saying, that, oh, well, the first beast, that's the Antichrist, and that the second beast is the one that emerges out of that, right? First and second beast, and some say that the second beast is the false prophet, Pope Francis or whatever, right? Now, the false prophet, of course, plays part in the system itself, which is Roman Catholicism, right? Which is, the whole worldwide religion, Yeah, that does play its part, but that has nothing to do with the whore Babylon the Great. See, a lot of false prophets are going to rise and deceive many out of this, And so, just having clarity, because, see, we, the elect, we have clarity of these scriptures, right? So we don't get confused anymore, because, for years we were taught, okay, somebody like Damian Thorne is going to, emerge as the one world leader that's going to promise all these things. Now, we might see some things to that effect take place, right? Because, of course, with Donald Trump miraculously surviving the headshot, right? He probably is going to be the next president. That's where they're moving, right? Because Joe Biden is now in quarantine, right? Because supposedly he contracted COVID again. He got the Chinese virus once again, so now he's in quarantine, right? Even though most people know that that's a hoax, and that, man, Joe Biden ain't there. He's just hiding because, of course, he's being defeated. Well, he's supposed to be defeated. That's part of the Hegelian dialect, right? To bring in Trump, to where people feel like, okay, well, they voted for Trump, right? No, the elites, they already know who's going to win, It's just the people are going to have to believe it, so they have to really build up Trump. Now, Trump has acting experiences, right? Unlike Biden, but he has a very good acting experiences. He's very entertaining, even I'm entertained by him, by some of the stuff I've seen, like his visits on WWE, and, I do watch UFC on the side, so of course I find him very entertaining. But that's just it. He's a good actor, he's very popular with a crowd. So he's this charismatic leader, right? This charismatic leader, which just so happens to be a card, an Illuminati card. The Illuminati card game, yeah, that's real. And the elites, they play these events, because we definitely know, though, that, there's predictive stuff in there, right? And the other big one was enough is enough card, right? That's where he does survive a bullet wound, right? Because this is where an assassination attempt, so it was all in the cards, This charismatic leader would survive a bullet wound, and, I don't know if the video's been altered, but there is some videos going out there showing Donald Trump with the window rolled down in the limousine and his ear not being covered. Now that, could be older tapes, because, of course, how many videotapes are there of Donald Trump in the limousine, right, before this event took place? So that's neither here nor there. But in public places, he has been seen wearing the bandage over his ear, miraculously surviving the headshot. So, like everything else, though, that looks like he's probably the next Trump card, right? The last Trump. But that's all there for a reason, right? Project 2025 is real. And of course, like everything else, though, more New World Order agenda. The Great Reset is still going to happen, no matter who's the leader. And he might push for that Great Reset more than anybody else because, hey, Klaus Schwab, he may be retired, but he's not fully retired in the essence of he's still around there. But like everything else, though, they still are going to push it. They're going to push for a global agenda. Well, we already know what happened in 2020, right? The big push, the big scare, and everybody was on quarantine, right? Everybody had to lock down. So that's what happened. And so you can see, though, that indeed, of course, Donald Trump's going to push the agenda. And what is it he said? I support Israeli state by 1,000%. And like everything else, so you got Senator Anthony Blinken, spewing out the rhetoric once again, or not senator, but the fuckatary of state, right? This place of fuckery, the fuckatary of state, is saying, oh, Iran could develop a weapon with all the materials that they have. We're going to have to go into Iran and, disable them, right? Because they could get a weapon, We should have never ended that P5+1 treaty, right? Because Donald Trump ended that. See how this all plays out? But they're all going to push one agenda. Ultimately, though, the main agenda, of course, is to get everyone to accept it, right? To accept the New World Order, to accept the Great Reset. They're going to reset everything. And so that IT outage was just done on purpose. It's another test run. It's not the event, but it's a event, because they just played those Illuminati cards last week, right? So, yeah, we're going to see more and more events take place, right? Now, does that mean that every single Illuminati card in the Illuminati card game is going to be played? I believe certain ones are going to be played. As far as every single card being played, probably not, because there's one called the Oregon Crud, and I haven't seen that event take place. The Oregon Crud can be many things, right? Oregon Crud just means that they get hit with something, something terrible is in the food plantations there, right? So, that's what the Oregon Crud is, right? So that may or may not happen. But nonetheless, though, it's their deck of tarot cards that they have, for predictive events, And there's predictive programming and everything, right? Because you could take a look at all the movies. You could take a look at a lot of things, right? Events, But make no mistake about it. While all that stuff was going on with the distractions, of course, Syria got hit, Syria was hit again with more terrorist attacks, with the Israeli state bombing them. And in the meantime, you got, other things taking place, right? But you don't really hear that because it's all being drowned out, But now that there was an IT outage, well, that's the next series of events, right? Because, as Elder Brother Malcolm is already on it and doing a video right now in premiere mode, is that the whole Trump narrative is falling apart. So they had to come up with something else, like an IT outage. We all know that they want more cybersecurity, right? And they want to eventually lock down the internet, because during this IT outage, right, blue screen of death. But it only affected, really, all the, major airports, banking, etc. Yet, at the same time, though, it was a controlled event. Of course it was a controlled event, And they're going to do more events like this, leading towards a new wave of security, right? A new system, because the old system has failed. So they got to come in with new cybersecurity, new, events. And what they're not telling people is that it's dead. The petrodollar is dead. That the fiat currency is no more. They're going to come in with a new central bank digital currency, So that's eventually, going to be pushed more and more until you get to the events leading towards the central bank digital currency will come out. And eventually they're going to, make it mandatory. They're going to make it mandatory that you have to have an implant in order to be able to prove your digital identity, And we, the elect, man, we're going to be prepared for it because, hey, the best videos are yet the ones that come out on the weekends, man. We really just amp things up during the weekends, We do camps during the weekends, most of us, and then we also just do more in-home videos, right? Because, a lot of brothers, man, they have a Monday through Friday job, right? I just so happen to work on Saturday and Sunday, but you know what, though? I still am here on a Saturday morning, right? Because I don't have to go to work until later, but yet at the same time, though, I want to amp it up. Of course I want to amp it up, man. And it's exciting to see that, indeed, that's what's happening. Things are amping up. And we see it. We can see that from miles away. See, the elect, man, we have a precursor. We know of the things leading up to it, and it's all leading towards a central bank digital currency. But we're also prepared that our loved ones, just like they took, you know what, they are also going to take the implant. Hey, they were implanted with this miracle of a cure for something that they didn't really understand anything about, which just later became the common cold. So they went and got themselves this wonderful thing, Operation Warp Speed, etc. You know what I'm talking about. Went and got that. And we saw a lot of loved ones take it, and, there's a lot of consequences having got it. But, that wasn't the implantable microchip. The implantable microchip, micro chip, is going to be when they, all digital currencies are going to be controlled through cybersecurity, right? Because this was a supposed cyber attack, right? This IT global outage, and we can see that indeed that they're going to have more events like this, leading towards that, because that blue screen of death came on, right? So a lot of flights got canceled. A lot of bank transactions didn't take place because of that outage. And what's interesting, at the same time, we had a controlled power outage. Now, we knew that Reading Electric was going to actually do a power safety shutdown because they were working on a certain area. So we had received notices that they were going to have that. And that, at the same time that was happening here on the West Coast, it's interesting that there was that global IT outage, so, hey, we had to power down. That's why you didn't see any videos of mine up yesterday, because, we had to power down. They cut our power. Now, this was supposed to be from 0800 hours to 1400 hours. So, well, they cut power at 0930 and then restored power by about, 1230 hours. So, got everything prepared, and, of course, doing the lessons now, But that's just it, though, is that, nothing happens by coincidence, We know that they have a playbook, but we know that they're mostly by Yahweh's playbook, right? Yahweh is the one that calls the shots. Even Yahweh Shai told you that nobody knows the time but the Father himself, which is Yahweh. So Yahweh calls the shots, and it's his playbook, how he wants these things to play out. So we know that you are either serving him on the right or on the left. But at the end of the day, though, we all are servants of the Most High. We, the elect, choose to serve him on the right side. Because on the left, at the end of the day, though, if you're serving him on the left side, you're only there for a short time. And that's just it, though, is that we know that Esau is in his short time. That he's only going to be allowed to rule for a short time. And they know that their time is short. A lot of their, global leaders have already died. Henry Kissinger is dead. Rothschild, Jacob Rothschild's dead. Evelyn Rothschild is dead. The Queen of England is dead. King Charles is not doing very good either. He wants to see certain things take place before he dies. So they know that they got a short time, man. These people ain't going to live forever. So they want to see their global agenda. They want to see their fulfillment of it, right? Because like everything else, though, the Most High has put it into their minds to fulfill the will of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh. See how that all works? It's all to fulfill the will of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai. So that's what we aims to do, right? Is that, well, how are we going to receive mercy in that day, right? Because the Most High is going to pour out his wrath through Yahweh Shai, which is that ultimate destruction, especially for those that take the MOTB, that take the implantable micro chip, which is that digital wallet, that digital dollar, that becomes a part of that system. That's the final implementation of it, So we're not distracted by the things that are going on, but we understand what deliberate distractions are. And indeed, this IT power outage, well, that's no coincidence. That just happens, as the narrative of Trump is starting to fall apart a little bit. We, the elect, see things way before anyone else does. But then some people out there start to figure that out. It's like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that these professional snipers they missed? That this professional sniper that was meant to hit Trump missed? How could he have missed, right? How could he have snuck in? He's just some 20-year-old kid. That doesn't even make sense, right? So you begin to question everything, right? But it's all going to lead towards more things, right? It's all done on purpose, as, another guy I listened to, Epic Economist, and he's got some sense on this, right? Because, the election attack and yet a cyber attack all at the same time, right? As he goes into it.
I dug a little bit deeper into the IT difficulties that sent the entire world into chaos, part of that CrowdStrike blue screen of death that was being sent all across the country and across the world. We had airlines go down, we had payment systems completely denied. Now, there are some people in information technology, in the white hat hacker space, that are saying this was not what it appeared to be. At the forefront, we had all these companies say it was nothing, we just had a mistake, we sent something out that shouldn't have been. Here's a shut it off, change this file, reboot it, fix for it. At the bigger picture, when we look at the forest beyond the trees, we have these white hat hackers that are saying, no way, this was definitely part of something bigger. Now, they're not saying whether it was just a dry run or maybe it was something else that is going on behind the scenes. What we are in the kind of understanding of right now is that we just witnessed one of the largest vulnerabilities of the United States of America and all international travel, all international payment systems, while we saw Russia, North Korea, China, and Iran sitting peacefully. They actually had news organizations and people at the terminals and airports in all these other countries posting videos, posting selfies, saying, while you're sitting here, America, broke and dumb, look, everybody else can run and operate the...
Slovakia, stupid commercial. They force these things on you.
Welcome to Planet Shine. We'll spot you up to $200. Your greatest financial adventure awaits.
These things are annoying.
Fine. And maybe we're starting to see a bigger picture in that the separation between the West, the payment systems, the IMF, everything that we have, and Russia and China and what they're building with the BRICS, maybe we are finally witnessing what economists have warned about for a very long time, that this is a new rising age and era, one that doesn't need America anymore. And that should scare you a little bit, because once America is no longer seen as the backbone currency, the backbone military, the backbone order, the backbone police of the world, then America goes quickly from a first world into a third world. I do have...
And like everything else, though, that's all being done on purpose. You know? But you see a bigger agenda with that, and that's what they plan. Now, like everything else, though, we've been in the midst of a heat wave here in California. Of course, Redding being on the top of the hot spots, right? I think Vegas, outdid that a little bit, but we're not at the end of this, right? It's only the middle of July, right? We still have a few more months of summer left. But like everything else, though, man, we still going out, man. And hey. Scriptures tell us not to wear t-shirts, right? That's not proper. So, of course, we're fully clothed when we go out here and teach. Hey, man, we just have to tough it out. Kind of like most of us that are on the poor side can't afford air conditioning either. So what do? Well, you can wet down your shirt and you put it on you, and you can survive out in the heat a little bit more. I mean, that's what I do. I create my own version of the swamp cooler, right? Because I ain't making that much, I make enough to get by, but that's about it. So we're smart like that. And then these people, man, you tell them that, we're going to cut your power for a few hours. Kind of like these people that are out in the fucking, and they did that on purpose, right? So that way the countryside would be screwed, right, with PG&E, because PG&E just cuts their power anytime they fucking feel like, right? You got the mercy of PG&E, which sucks, right? But they do that. They do these controlled power outages, because, high winds, we're going to cut your power, so that way you can burn to death, right? Unless you're really super rich, right? Because if you live on the countryside, you're considered super rich, right? So they just know you're going to run your power generator. They do all that shit on purpose. PG&E does, right? But then what happens when your city does that, Because that's what they want, is everybody stuck in the cities. They want strong cities networks, right? You've heard that phrase, right? Strong cities networks, because they want to control everything with a button, right? So that way, when they do these events, they can control everything. Yeah, they showed you that in Die Hard, the what you would call a fire sale, right? Where they shut off everything, And hey, we expect Esau to do some of these events, right? Because they put their stuff in the movies. Now not every movie that you've seen is going to become true, but they do deliberately put some things in there, and then sometimes that does turn into events, right? You know, because like there was a movie about a quarantine, about a you know, a pandemic, right? I mean, Dustin Hoffman did a movie years ago called Outbreak, right? And then you've seen some of that happen in 2020, you know, with this global, you know, lockdown, you know. But that took more place in one area. But man, the whole world was on a lockdown. That never happened before in the history of the world, right? A full global lockdown. But you see, that's just it. Everything's hooked into that system now. They have that system up and running. And hey, you know, we know that the 5G towers were created. Now you got 6Gs and 7Gs out there, right? And you're starting to see newer towers created, right? So they don't need to do that kind of lockdown. They're just going to cause events, you know, like we just saw. So we know that this is all being done on purpose, and we know that there's deliberate distractions out there. You know, so we do what we do best. We go out there and we prophesy of these things to come, and then as they come, we're not taken by surprise while everybody else is wondering, well, what happened? You know, and Donald Trump, he said it in his own words. We must stop listening to these prophets of dooms, right? Right? That's what we were called, the prophets of doom. Because Donald Trump knows that we speak the 100% truth, see? You know, and we're telling you of things to come. Ultimately, that America is going to become the lake of fire, you know? And that if you take the implementation, you take that implant, you know, that you'll be cast alive into that lake of fire, which is the nuclear destruction. See, like everything else, though, we know that that's a consequence of taking the implantable micro CHIP, you know? And even Donald Trump told you that, you know, taking the you-know-what was like a micro CHIP, you know? And that's just it, though, is that they did make it mandatory. They did have certain places you couldn't get into unless you had proved that you've been fully, you know? So we know that that's coming. That unless you have the full micro CHIP, right, you know, and you have everything up to date, you know, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. And the things you're going to be able to buy or sell is only within their guidelines. See, everything's going to be guided. It's all going to be under their guidelines. They control everything, right? No more exchanges between people, right? No more friendly exchanges. Oh, you got some peaches? I'll trade you for some oranges, right? They don't want that anymore. No, everything's going to be through that implantable system. They want everybody to be implanted, you know? Farmers markets, yeah, you can see a lot of that gone, right? Hey, Whole Foods has that newer system, right? You know, Whole Foods, you have to, you know, certain ones, you know, the one that's controlled by Amazon, Whole Foods, or is that Whole? Well, it's Whole something. Either way, though, they have that system, you know, where you have to have the app in order to even get in there, right? You know, so you can't get in the regular way, and they have some of that system even in Canada. But you can't go in unless you have the app. You have the app downloaded, right? So unless you have this thing implanted in you, you're not going to be able to get in. And a lot of people have already seen that even with, you know, Costco. You know, that, you know, the old system of the guy just checking you to see if you have a Costco card is eventually going to be done away, that you have to actually verify it via the kiosk, or you ain't even going to be able to get in the store. You know, they say that's, you know, and I believe it a little bit, you know, that, okay, you know, it's based upon membership, and that they don't want non-members getting in there. They don't want you buying for somebody else, you know, that's not a member, you know. But wait a minute, if you're paying for the membership, shouldn't it be your decision anyways on who you're buying for? You mean to tell me how I spend my $75 or so, that you're going to tell me that, oh, I can only buy for me? Well, what if I want to help someone else that's not doing so well, right? That can't afford that there. You mean to tell me what I buy, you know, that I'm going to make this exchange with you, but you don't like it because I might help someone else out? Kind of like, you know, the newer laws against those that are poor and unfortunate, you know. The homeless laws, yeah, it's illegal to be homeless now. It's illegal to camp. You know, the Supreme Court of Justice, which is a joke in itself, but they passed a law. They just passed a law, you know, and you already know that Redding takes the cake when it comes to this things. When they impoverish the poor, they really, really clamp down on it, right? You know, anything that ever happens, it gets blamed on who? The poor. The poor always get blamed for everything that takes place, right? You know. Oh, it's got to be the homeless, man. You know that. Oh, I think the homeless started that fire. Oh, I think the homeless are the reason behind that vandalism. I think the homeless did it. You know, they're the blame for everything here. They're the scapegoat. You know, and it's just illegal, right? You know, so You know, it can't be anybody who's just tweaked out or decked out, right? You know, they get blamed for everything. But that's just how the system works. And a lot of people, you know, they ended up homeless anyways. You know, they never thought that they would end up there, but they once were people. So, but they ended up there anyways. Why? Because everybody's living from paycheck to paycheck, the so-called American dream. Well, that ended long ago. You know, it takes 2 or 3 people in a household to keep a household. You know, and you know, you get laid off, one of them gets laid off and all that. That means you're making partial payments to the point that eventually they start cutting shit off. And you know that once your power gets cut off, that they'll just evict you automatically over that because you don't have any power. Yeah, there's a law about that. You know, that's been around for some time, but that's how a lot of people ended up becoming homeless alone right there. You know, even though they had enough to pay their rent, they just didn't have enough to pay their utilities. Their utility bill got behind. So that was another way of kicking them out. And then you got crooked realtors just going and buying shit, right? Buying property off the very, very poor. Well, they were able to use 2020 to do that, right? You know, because what that was a big, huge grab, you know. These mom and pop businesses, these, you know, eviction moratoriums, right? You know, these, you know, realtors were able to come in and buy things once the eviction moratoriums had ended. And a lot of the places that had the eviction moratoriums, right? Well, guess what? They got bought out by the government, so the government now regulates it. And everything's 3 times higher now, right? You know, I was paying $700 a month for a 2-bedroom duplex here in Redding. Well, that all changed, right? Well, eventually another, you know, well-to-do realtor authority property management had bought that place, right? You know, and they said that, oh, well, we're kicking everybody out because, of course, you know, we're going to do repairs on it. They didn't do repairs until a year later, but guess what? Somebody with better credit score, well, they got in and they got the same place for the same price, $700 a month, until they started doing renovations on it. And then eventually they upped it to about $1,200. Yeah, they did do the renovations, but that was a year later. But, you know, they take in who they want to, right? So you know how everything's already on that credit score system. Hey, we don't have to wait for the China model. That model's already here. It's just people are too blind to see it, right? You know, they think that, okay, I'm getting ahead, but yet $700 a month, right? So that's what a 2-bedroom duplex was. Well, I got evicted from that, right? And you've seen me doing videos out of the storage shed, right? You know, so yeah, I was in storage for a little while, and then eventually got another place. And that one was about, when I first started there, that one was about, you know, $775 plus the $35 pet deposit because I had pets. So that's about $810 a month. So that had already gone up $110. Well, with the pet deposit and everything, guess how much that is now? Because every year they go up another $50. Now I'm paying $985 for the same place. Same 2-bedroom apartment. Of course, I had to downsize a lot because there's a big difference between a 2-bedroom apartment and a 2-bedroom duplex. You know, so I've downsized and yet I'm paying more. I'm paying close to $1,000. Oh, that's nothing as compared to places like San Francisco or Sacramento. I mean, but yet at the same time, when the only income you're bringing in is, you know, you get paid every 2 weeks, you know, you don't exactly get paid on time, and then you got a little bit of SSI, man, that ain't shit. You know, you're just barely getting by. You know, like the song Good Times, you know, layoffs, all that shit, right? But like everything else, though, you know, things are going to intensify. You know, but he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. You know, and that's just talking about one element, the poverty, right? You know, but to see, that's how they're going to use it, right? And they're going to control more and more resources. You know that the resources now, that your grocery bill is way higher than it ever was before. That's all being done on purpose. You know, they're going to keep upping the prices. They're going to keep causing crises, right? You know, and it seems to always be plants, right? And it seems to always be these farmers' places that are hit by fires or tornadoes or whatever, right? So they're going to control the crops more, right? You know, because they want you to eat bugs. They want you to eat, you know, was it Impossible Burgers? You know, those fucking lab-grown burgers. They don't want you to eat real meat. You know, so they are deliberately culling cows, culling chickens, you know, over this bird flu hoax, you know. So, you know, it's all being done on purpose so they can control the food and water supplies, you know, because, hey, they don't think that they did a good job in 2020 in getting everybody to take the you-know-what. So they're going to control more food and water, you know, and everything to where it's going to be impossible not to take it. But we, the elect, man, we're going to depend on the Most High. See, we know what's coming down the road, and we're expecting our loved ones to take that micro CHIP, because they didn't deal with the pressures of losing their job. They went and got themselves what. But, we know the consequences, and we fear the Most High about these consequences of taking the micro CHIP. Hey, the Most High don't beat around the bush. It tells you exactly what's going to happen to all those that take the micro CHIP, which we know is the MOTB. We already have identified what the MOTB is it's an implant, and it's a regulation that you're not going to be able to buy or sell, save you that has it. So we know the consequences of that. Revelation chapter 14 verse 9, it reads, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image," that's the New World Order, "and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand," that's the implantable micro CHIP, "the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation," which is World War III, nuclear war. "And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb." And that's when Yahushua returns. And the angels of the Most High, the chariots, are also wreaking havoc on this place. "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever," meaning that they're alive. They're alive. They're being burned alive. "And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." That's what's coming to everybody who takes that implantable micro CHIP as a solution to everything, right? The solution to the, IT security, as a solution to digital identity, as a solution to, all the so-called financial problems, right? Just take this implantable micro CHIP and you'll be secure. It's safe. It's easy. It's convenient. Well, that's what they'll do. But, that's a promise that the Most High made to anybody who takes it. And a lot of people are going to be cast there even if they don't take it, right? Because this place called the Lake of Fire, which is Babylon the Great being destroyed by nuclear war, is still for the wicked. So whether they take it or not, So we tell you elect especially, because that's who we were speaking. That's who heed the warning. But we're warning everyone else as well, That is the 2/3. Now the 2/3 aren't going to listen, but we're warning. We're giving warnings. Repent now while you still have time. If you're an Israelite, repent now while you still have time. Come back to the Most High, His statutes, His commands. Learn the names of Yahweh Shai. Stop being a mocker and start, repenting while you still got time. And like everything else, though, if you're serious about repentance, the Most High is going to provide a way. That's why we're still out here. That's why this whole thing hasn't been shut down yet. We believe it will still reach a few elect members before this thing closes. So hopefully this has been edifying. For that, I'm going to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh, Wa Abal Babal. Rakatham, Jehovah elect, Shalom.